Yeah, me know. This is Kia Bamba, so we run the whole of Switzerland and the whole of Europe, and we run the whole of etc, etc. You don't know, devil shaman says so, me I bat them to the max. And it's like some idiot someone want to stop them from get a piece of the pie. Oh, I'm to no disrespect, could go and die. Yeah, me know. Kia Bamba, them have dubs, we play fast, I play slow, them have flows. Like nobody knows, them kill sound, a sound clash and dance all. And mash up stage shows, but some guys don't recognize, I realize. So them have...
Welcome to Only Friends on a Power Day, your one-stop shop for all things snow, mountain and travel. Get all you need to know about epic destinations, inspiring stories from local legends all around the globe, as well as creators, entrepreneurs, brands, owners, and more. We are here to talk about what's hot, what's incoming, and what's changing the game. Come along for the ride, froth out, and let's have fun bloody doing it. Now, Matthew, we're here today to explain why the hell we're here. Help me.
I'm happy to be here, Austin, and I'm glad you asked that incredibly important question because I have no doubt that the people are confused and that they just want to know what we're going to be spitting about for the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, however long we manage to hold down the fort for. So the intro does a great job of explaining it, I think, but let's delve a little bit deeper.
Shall we elaborate?
Please.
Well, after me and Matty talking about this, we feel that there's, three kind of main areas that we really want to talk about. And I guess one of the main ones is just talking about destinations, resorts, places where people want to go. And really just, giving everyone from a travel tourist who's going there from the first time to someone who wants to go to a season, a bit of an insight into those zones. And that's where your local legends and the people who live or breathe those areas come into it. Matty, I guess the other thing we want to talk about is kind of the entrepreneurs and the owners and people who, have really shaped a career around this kind of area. Do you want to try to elaborate on what we think about that?
Yeah, I think trying to appeal to and give some inspiration to an audience that maybe wants to either take away some of the quality insights that people from the snow industry can give, having led, run, managed, started brands in what can be a fickle and testing environment that's often subject to the volatility of Mother Nature. But I think there's also, there's plenty of kids out there doing seasons that ran the same path, I guess, that we ran for a decade or more, and having that insight and seeing that there is a pathway to a long-term prosperous career in the snow industry, regardless of whether you haven't been to school, you dropped out of school, you've got multiple bachelor degrees. It doesn't matter where you kind of land from an education perspective. I think it's cool to be able to show aspiring, seasonaires that there is a path to being to creating a prosperous career in the snow industry, and having sort of done it ourselves and seeing that path. I think it's cool to get those insights and those stories from a heap of other people that have probably done it a hell of a lot more successfully than you and I have.
Said very well, Matthew. I think that's that touches the nail on the head, as they would say. And I think, there's so many people who are passionate about this industry. It doesn't matter where or how or when they started. If you're passionate, there is always a path. You might feel like a ski bum. You might be someone who just likes to go skiing a week a year. It's awesome to, hear about these kind of stories and from these people and how they carved their path through it. So, that's what having friends on a power day is all about, I guess, really making sure that we're trying to tell you about these humans who have made a life out of something that they were super passionate about. And I think that also, crosses over into so many other industries, whether it's surf, tourism, or anything you're passionate about. So, I guess on top of the passionate humans, we want to talk about, some of the not just local legends, but the people who are professionals in this game, and whether that's because they're carved their own path through being entrepreneurs or being pro riders or someone who's just, you know, looked up to in their local community. I think that's a really important story to try and portray and put out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of celebrities in every industry and across the entire action sports realm, and I think having some relatability to some of those people who it's quite easy to put on a pedestal without knowing them or knowing more about them, and having their stories and their backgrounds be accessible, I think is a really nice pathway for people to maybe connect better with some of these people and take a little bit more inspiration rather than you know celebritizing them, so to
Yeah.
speak. And having I could speak to experience. I looked up to someone like Tanner Hall for so many years, and then I had a couple of times where I got to stay with Tanner at X Games in Aspen, and I was like, actually, this dude's like a super mellow, super cool, down to earth guy. I hung out with his mum and dad. Like he was a proper legend, and once you have that access and you see those types of people, then I think that brings the industry closer together as well, because it removes the separation of, oh, these people are these are the elite pros and they're on they're playing a different game within the industry to what we're playing, whereas really we're all in it for the same thing, and it's the love of the sport of sliding around on snow, however you may do it, but also of all the good times and the fun and the naughty stuff that comes with being in the snow industry as well.
Lots of naughty stuff.
And a lot of wholesome stuff as well, Austin.
Correct. Yes. Being entrenched in the mountains is just all about that fresh air every day, especially when you're a little bit hungover, and it brings you back to life very quickly.
Indeed.
On top of that, I think the other thing we'd really like to touch on and vibe on and froth out on is, as I said, what's hot, what's incoming, new gear reviews, what's changing the game, whether it's, new technology, whether it's very relevant right now, natural selection, and, how that went down this year, and skiers being involved. Probably not ideal conditions, but hopefully that changes. But there's so many things we can talk about. We just want to talk about things that people who love this industry, this snow industry, are passionate about. And we want to hear from you, and for you to tell us what you want to hear about. So this episode here is just basically trying to be Picasso and paint a picture, and we're really looking for buy-in from an audience to tell us what you're really looking for, and let us know. Matty, what?
Yeah, we're keen to hear, and we'll take any feedback, good, bad, or otherwise. I think the concept, to sum it up to a degree, is there's so many awesome places to go to get content specific to certain things. Like I'm an avid listener to pretty much everything on the Blister Network, to everything on the Two Planker Network. And there's Blister Network super. It's often product focused, particularly Gear 30, and then Two Planker, a lot of athlete stuff. There's kind of all these super. There's some cool Aussie snowboard podcasts as well. There's heaps of content specific to sort of the individual facets, I guess, of the industry, and we thought it'd be a cool idea, I guess, to try and bring a whole bunch of those under one roof and see if we can sort of, I guess, tie some red thread through each of those different facets and try and bring some stories and some commonality to each of those different aspects of the industry. And and tell the story and the history of the industry through some of these people, and have them connect with an audience that that's keen to listen. And you know, I guess not every episode's going to be for everyone, right? Like, you know, we will have hopefully a variety of content that will appeal to everyone, from a weekend warrior to a never been before but super interested, right through to you know, to a seasonaire or a
Core
pro skier,
Lord.
you know, core lord. Yeah. So, you know, the gear nerds will want to talk about product. The travel crew will want to hear about resorts. The commercial heads and the people that are deep in the business game will want to hear from entrepreneurs and whatnot. I think the idea is to bring something that's dynamic and that's broad reaching into under one roof, that is somewhat directed by us, but hopefully with a large handball to whoever our guests are. And that's probably one thing we should touch on, right? Like the concept here is that this is not you and I talking smack all the time. The idea here is that we're going to have entertaining guests who are probably going to be a hell of a lot more entertaining than you and I.
Yes.
To listen to, and they're going to hopefully drive some of the entertainment for our lovely listeners.
We're just looking for facilitate a place where people can listen to cool stories and people who've done amazing things, whether it's through a professional career, a ski bum turned legend, or someone who's just, you know, from the roots up, been born and bred part of this industry. So, you know, we're looking at a place where we can facilitate that, and we're better than my garage here in Torquay in Australia, while, you know, we're here at with a surf comp going on around the corner and all my surfboards here and my skis sitting down there and just frothing out about our next ski trip. So, yeah, you know, what else can I say? I don't know.
I feel like I'm in a Hollywood studio, Ozzy, so I think you've done an incredible job of making this making this garage into something, you know, slightly more entertaining than what it may be.
So, you know, from this point in, I guess what me and Matty would like to do is just paint a little bit more of a picture about our journey together, and how we got to this point of my garage, which, you know, we feel like this is the real first intro. We kind of did another episode with my better half talking about her kind of journey and how we met along the way. But from there, I really think, you know, once we have kind of painted a picture about our stories, then we'll start to really dive into some local legends, probably who are based here in Torquay, and then really try and branch out to international people who are inspiring to the whole world and not just here in Australia. So we'll start local and we will build it out. So we'd love you to stay tuned and, you know, listen to what we can possibly make this. As I said, let's have fun, froth out, shred hard, and have a bloody good time doing it.
I like that, Austin.
I do too.
I like it a lot.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.
Well, thanks for listening. And yeah, this is the beginning. See you soon.
Oi, hear me now. This is Kia Bamba, so we run the whole of Switzerland and the whole of Europe, and we run the whole of etc. You don't know, devil shaman says so, me I bat them to the max. And it's like some idiot so want to stop them from get a piece of the pie. Oh, I'm to no disrespect, could go and die. Hear me now? Kia Bamba, them have dubs, we play fast, I play slow, them have flows. Like nobody knows, them kill sound, a sound clash and dance all. And mash up stage shows, but some guys don't recognize and realize. So them have them own style. A long time them they are now, them not just come. And it's been a long while. Them want a piece of the pie. Well, if I double it and tune up a buy. Food for feed them family, that's no lie. Any idiot little